Everyone goes through changes in their lives, and you might likely be at the standing point or the tunnel point of taking conscious decision, either to move on from a relationship that you find so difficult to cope, either you have a career that is not even giving you the necessary boost and shift in life and you feel stuck, you're unhappy, and it's like everyone is leaving you behind. You might perhaps have been in a company for years and you have been doing the same job for 5 years, 10 years, and it's like nothing so seems to be fulfilling or getting you the necessary source that makes life wonderful and beautiful to want to keep. Regardless of anything you may be going through, whether it's emotional, physical, or relational, or financial, whenever these changes and this situation or circumstances come and we find ourselves, there is always one truth that is necessary for us to embrace. And in today's video, I will be sharing some of those missing tips and frameworks that you can use to start your life again after being stuck. If you are new on this channel, I welcome you to Aspire with Adiola from the stable of Low Data Think Media. Welcome back, friends. If you are new on this channel and you are yet to subscribe, I encourage you to please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to click the notification bell to get notified whenever I drop educative and interesting topics like this. Back to today's topic, which I titled How to Start Your Life Again After Failure. The first thing I'm going to be sharing with you, regardless of the limitation and whatever circumstance you find ourselves, is the ability to first and foremost know and gain fresh perspective. Whatever limitation we find ourselves, we've got to take a step back again to check ourselves. And when I mean checking yourself, you want to dig deep further inside of you in such a way that you are able to see what are those things that are constantly plague myself or put me in this hole, that have put me in this constraint, that have made me remain in this kind of limitation that is surrounding me. It's like taking an assessment of yourself and being truthful and being able to find out what are the things that are holding you back from living life in its fullness. And you don't want to lie to yourself. You want to be able to sit down and check within yourself. Because sometimes our reality sometimes deprive us from the real perception of what is actually the problem with what we are going through. And the earlier and the better time we are able to sit and tell ourselves the truth about our present circumstances and situation, it will help us be able to get the right perspective on what we need to do. Sometimes we don't know what we want. I remember, when you say, what do you want out of life? A lot of us, we find it difficult to even give answer to that question. You say, okay, what do you want? You are still looking, you don't know. But maybe when you change the perspective, okay, what are those things you don't want in this your life at the moment? What are those things you don't want? What are those things that is depriving you from living the fullness of life you want? Then you can be able to begin to say, okay, I don't want this life of no structure. I don't like this life of financial hardship. Okay, I want to have control over my life. I want to be able to do more, be more, think more, and achieve more. Okay. Now, when you are able to get that perspective right, then you pick up your pen and begin to now write. That is the second point. The first thing is identify and gain the right perspective of what you actually see that is the limitation. Now, what are those challenges? Once you decide to gain perspective of why you are where you are, then you begin to identify. It's like an exercise that I always do to myself whenever there is a problem. You seek insight for guidance. You don't just listen to the noise, because every time you sit down, you always have somebody to give you one advice. And can I tell you that you cannot get the best advice as somebody that is yet to marry from somebody that just is yet to be married. or you want to seek advice on how to live a wonderful life from somebody that's just been divorced, they won't be the best. So you want to identify what are those challenges, and you want to sit down by yourself with a pen and journal those things. Identify exactly what the challenge is with you, and it will help you to learn what are the things you need to start to rebuild, what are those steps you need to start to take, what are the lack and what are the gaps. Is it education wise, or is it financial, is it emotional? A lot of times some of the problem we have are even emotional. Some of them are blocks that are staying up here that we have refused to let go. Some of them are as a result of years of inability to forgive ourselves and let go of what has happened in the past, or holding on to people and making them responsible for the misery we happen. And you want you to look at you now, blaming wherever state or whatever challenge you are having now because your parents divorced, or because Nigeria is bad, or because you were born into a certain home or into a certain family. As good as those excuses are, you must know that the challenges of what is keeping you at that moment and where you are now goes beyond those circumstances that you were born into. As a matter of fact, we don't have the right to choose our background. We can only take decision based on what we have seen and where we actually want to see ourselves. And then let me now take that further by saying that, okay, if you are not comfortable with those things you are seeing as the present challenges you are seeing in your life, then it is time to now assert, which is taking me to point number 3, which is you now value what are your priorities in life. And that was the question I was trying to. Some of us don't know what we really want. What are your priorities? What are those things you really want out of life? What is success? What is the definition of success to you? Is it just about finding the right job? Is it about making money? Is it about finding the right partner? Is it about having your children, having quality time to be able to nurture and raise them up? Is it about getting to the crescendo of your top career, or feet at the top echelon and being the good boss? You need to be honest with yourself, because until you know what you want, then you will not know how to get there. Like a saying goes that the best time to reach for a map is before you get into the woods. So if you want to really actually begin your life again after you have been stuck, after you have failed, or after you have seen that you don't really, then you need to look at what are those priorities that you want. Is it travel? Is it freedom? It is different to different people. And when you now know those things, it will help you to begin the process that is going to make the utmost change that will get you to that result. And that is why it is very important to know what you don't want. When you know what you don't want, it will help you to know what are those things you actually want. And that is how clarity is formed. You find and now begin to gain the clarity of what are the things you need to do. Then you now begin to invest and prioritize on those things. If there are 5 things you need, what are those? List them in accordance of their priorities, and now begin to see how you can take good investment of time, energy into bringing those goals, those plans to reality. And there was a saying that I was hearing from one of my mentors that said, don't write to-do list. You now make to-be list. This is top 5 priorities that I want to see in my life in this year 2022 before it ends. And I want you to now begin to see how you can now begin to put plans together to make those things become reality. So you are going to invest your time, you are going to invest your energy, you are going to invest everything inside of you to really prove to yourself that actually this is important. And I want to remind you quickly something that somebody told me, that focus on one course until you succeed. So when you begin to invest your time and prioritize what you want, I want you to make sure that you don't allow anything to distract you away from that set priority. And in that way, you will be able to make it good, your plan, and you will be able to you'll be able to track your progress in short term and the long run, and over the next few months or next year or years from now. So it is important to invest and prioritize what actually are the things that you want to see that will create the meaningful life you are up to. And I also want to add to the next one that I'll be sharing, which is something that is very common. Some of us who actually have some of those plans, but there is no deadline. Those goals, those plans have no deadlines attached to it. So when I ask you, if you actually planning to reset and refocus your life for a new beginning, what are those things that are in your calendar? And what are the deadlines? What are the dates you have given to yourself that you want to see those things actualize? It is in those sets. And that is the last point I'm sharing, that you have to tap into motivating yourself into doing what? To working out those steps. And I call it tap into motivation. There are so many good plans that many of us have that is just lying down in the cooler, and we don't know that until we imbibe the good habit, those plans will not work. Unless we develop the motivation and cultivate the right habit of discipline that will help keep you on track. This habit, even the goal setting, that's as good as it is, even the daily reflection and prioritizing and what have you, will never bring about the change. So it is possible to change your life. I want you to know this first. It is possible to actually start again. And we are not going to be the first people. And even as women, we have seen so many people that after they have failed in marriage, they have made one costly mistake all in life. They decided, because the decision to change your life is only in your hand. If you know you are tired and you don't want anybody to define your life any longer, you don't want to be held back by your limitation, you don't want somebody to define you by your past failure, by your past mistake, past limitation, and you want to start living and break free from every of those past and start living your best days and your best life, then I encourage you, friend, to begin as a matter of urgency, to begin to prioritize, and to begin to live every day, putting enough energy and motivation into everything you do. You want to ask me, sometimes I wake up, I don't find motivation sometimes, but I want you to know that anything that doesn't cost you doesn't last. If your future is important to you, and you look at your children, their future is important to you, then you will know that sacrifice you need to make to bring the best days that will make the future of your children beautiful, you will go through that sacrifice. You will go through that sacrifice. You will deliberately, as a matter of consciousness, move yourself towards circles and accountability relationships and people that will help fan the flame of what you want to see in your life. And I tell you, when you begin to move on to those kind of relationships, those wasted years, those years that you have thought you have wasted, you will begin to regain them back before you know. Friends, this is the end of today's video. I do hope you find something valuable or educative that you can begin to implement to help you gain back the motivation and the energy and the flow to take back your life back and start regardless of any failure you have witnessed in the past. If you enjoyed this video, you might also consider watching this next video right on the top of this video. And I encourage you to please check the description button. There is a link that can help you live your life again to the fullness. It is a meditational app that can help you start your day with vibrancy and with vigor. I want you to check it, and it's free for a certain number of days, and let me see how it's able to change the present scenario you're having. Until I see you then, remember, your destiny is in your hand and you have what it takes to write a new story. Bye. Thank you for watching.